The fluorescent lights of Sterling and Cross Financial hummed their familiar evening song as Evelyn Hart pushed her maintenance cart down the 14th floor corridor. The cart wasn't hers, she was a senior data analyst, not cleaning staff, but the disguise served its purpose. Nobody questioned a woman in a gray janitor's uniform moving through the building after hours. Evelyn had perfected invisibility over the past decade. At 32, she'd become a ghost haunting the corridors of corporate America. Her natural honey blonde hair was dyed a dull brown and pulled into a tight, unflattering knot. Thick prescription-less glasses magnified her green eyes into something owlish and unappealing. The shapeless uniform added 20 pounds to her slender frame. Every morning, she chose this costume deliberately, carefully, protectively. It hadn't always been this way. 10 years ago, Evelyn had been someone entirely different. She'd worn Chanel and Valentino, her hair styled by the same colorist who serviced Manhattan's elite. She'd attended gallery openings and charity auctions on the arm of Nathan Whitmore, heir to the Whitmore real estate empire. Their engagement had been announced at the Met Gala, photographers capturing her radiant smile, her custom Vera Wang gown, the 10-carat diamond catching light like a captured star. Then came the autumn evening at the Whitmore estate in the Hamptons. Nathan's business associate, Victor Kane, had cornered her in the wine cellar during a dinner party. His proposition had been blunt and offensive. Her rejection had been immediate and clear. His rage had been calculated and devastating. Within 24 hours, photographs appeared across social media and gossip sites. Digitally manipulated images showed Evelyn in Victor's arms, in compromising positions, time-stamped throughout that evening. The accompanying narrative painted her as a gold digger, a social climber who'd betrayed her fiancé with his business partner for financial gain. Nathan had believed the evidence without question. His family's attorneys had appeared at her apartment with documents severing all connections to the Whitmore name. Her own parents, horrified by the public scandal, had suggested she disappear for a while until things settled. Her position at a prestigious marketing firm had been terminated within 72 hours. Evelyn learned quickly that beauty made you vulnerable. Visibility made you a target. So she'd shed her former identity like a snake shedding poisoned skin. She'd moved to Boston, changed her appearance, and taken a position at Sterling and Cross under her middle name, hiding her qualifications behind mediocre performance reviews and deliberate drabness. For 10 years, she'd existed in the shadows. She arrived early, left late, and spoke only when necessary. Her financial analyses were competent but never brilliant. She attended required meetings but never volunteered opinions. In a company of 300 employees, she was the one person nobody remembered 5 minutes after meeting her. Until tonight. Evelyn pushed her cart past the executive offices, heading toward the corner where she'd left her actual belongings. The building should have been empty, it was nearly 9 o'clock on a Friday evening. But light spilled from beneath the door of what had been the CEO's office until last week, when Sterling and Cross had been acquired by Phoenix Technologies. She paused, curiosity overcoming caution. The new owner was supposed to arrive Monday. Who would be working in that office tonight? The door opened suddenly. Evelyn jerked backward, nearly knocking over her cart. "Sorry, didn't mean to startle you." The man who emerged was tall, perhaps 6'2", with dark hair touched with gray at the temples. He wore jeans and a white button-down with the sleeves rolled to his elbows, casual for an executive office, but he wore them with the ease of someone who'd earned the right not to care about dress codes. His eyes were deep brown, intelligent and assessing. "I'm just cleaning," Evelyn muttered, keeping her head down, reaching for a spray bottle that wasn't there. "At 9 o'clock on Friday night?" His voice carried a hint of amusement rather than suspicion. I prefer working when it's quiet." "Me too." He extended his hand. "Dominic Pierce." Evelyn's heart stopped. Dominic Pierce. The tech entrepreneur who'd built Phoenix Technologies from a college dorm room into a $15 billion empire. Forbes 30 Under 30 at 26. Billionaire by 30. Known for his unconventional management style and refusal to follow traditional corporate hierarchies. And he was standing in front of her, hand extended, actually noticing her. She couldn't refuse the handshake without being conspicuously rude. His grip was firm, warm, and his eyes studied her face with an intensity that made her want to flee. "Evelyn," she said quietly, using only her first name. "You work here, Evelyn?" "Data analysis. 14th floor. Working late on analysis?" His gaze flickered to her janitor's uniform. Heat flooded her cheeks. I left something in my cubicle." "Ah." He didn't press, didn't call out the obvious lie. "I'm trying to understand this company before Monday. The previous owner left everything in chaos." "You've been here a while?" 10 years. The answer came automatically before she could stop it. 10 years. Dominic leaned against the doorframe, genuinely interested. "Then you've seen this place through 3 market crashes, 2 CEO transitions, and that insider trading scandal in 2019. You probably know more about how this company actually functions than anyone in executive leadership." Evelyn stared at him, suspicious of the interest. "Nobody paid attention to invisible people. I just analyze numbers. Numbers tell stories. The best ones tell the truth that people try to hide." He studied her with those penetrating eyes. "I'm doing one-on-one meetings with key personnel starting Monday. Would you be available Tuesday morning? I'd like to hear your perspective on the data systems." "I'm not key personnel. I'm just—" "Let me decide who's key," he interrupted gently. "Tuesday, 9 a.m. She should refuse. Should maintain her invisibility. Should protect the walls she'd built so carefully." But something in his direct gaze, in the way he spoke to her as if she mattered, cracked something inside her. "Tuesday at 9, she heard herself agree. "Excellent." He smiled, and the expression transformed his face from merely handsome to genuinely warm. "I look forward to it, Evelyn. Have a good weekend." He returned to the office, leaving her standing in the corridor with her fake maintenance cart and her racing heart. Through the open door, she could see him returning to a desk covered with spreadsheets and reports, rolling up his sleeves further as he dove back into work. Evelyn fled to her cubicle, abandoned the cart, grabbed her actual belongings, and hurried to the elevator. In the reflection of the polished doors, she saw what Dominic Pierce had seen, a drab, shapeless woman in an unflattering uniform, hiding behind ugly glasses. But he'd looked at her as if he'd seen something more. Something she'd buried 10 years ago. And that terrified her more than anything. Evelyn spent the weekend in her small apartment, alternating between panic and resignation. She cleaned obsessively, reorganized her closet, and stared at the back corner where a locked trunk held the remnants of her former life. She hadn't opened it in years. Monday morning arrived with gray skies and the threat of rain. Evelyn dressed in her usual armor, oversized beige sweater with pulled threads, dark slacks that bunched at her ankles, her thick glasses, hair scraped back so tightly it gave her a headache. She applied no makeup except for subtle shadows under her eyes to look perpetually exhausted. Sterling and Cross buzzed with energy she hadn't seen in years. Dominic Pierce's official arrival had transformed the atmosphere. Young analysts whispered excitedly in the break room. Senior partners emerged from their offices looking nervous and energized in equal measure. Evelyn kept her head down, navigating to her cubicle in the back corner of the 14th floor. Her desk faced a wall, exactly as she preferred. She booted up her computer and tried to lose herself in quarterly projections, but her mind kept drifting to tomorrow's meeting. "All personnel, main conference room in 15 minutes, the intercom crackled. Evelyn sighed, grabbed her notebook, and made her way to the large conference space. She claimed her usual position in the far back corner, partially hidden behind a support column. Through the crowd, she could see the front of the room where the senior partners waited with varying expressions of anxiety and forced enthusiasm. The doors opened and Dominic Pierce entered, but not alone. Beside him walked a man who made Evelyn's blood turn to ice. Victor Kane. He'd aged well, damn him. His silver-streaked hair gave him a distinguished air. His tailored suit probably cost more than her annual rent. He carried himself with the same arrogant confidence that had repulsed her a decade ago. "Good morning," Dominic began, his voice carrying easily through the room. "I'm Dominic Pierce, and this is Victor Kane, CEO of Kane Ventures. We're exploring a potential partnership that could expand Sterling and Cross's market position significantly." Evelyn's hands gripped her notebook until her knuckles went white. Victor was here. In her building. In her safe, invisible space. "Over the next 2 weeks, Mr. Kane and his team will be conducting due diligence," Dominic continued. "I expect full cooperation from all departments. My assistant will be circulating a schedule for departmental presentations." Evelyn barely heard the rest. Her entire body had gone cold. She needed to leave, to call in sick for 2 weeks, to quit if necessary. She couldn't risk Victor recognizing her. Even with her transformation, even after 10 years, the danger felt immediate and real. As the meeting concluded, Evelyn stood to slip out with the crowd. But as she turned, she found Victor Kane standing directly in her path, studying a document on his tablet. "Excuse me," she muttered, keeping her voice low and her head down. He glanced up, his eyes passing over her without recognition. "Of course." She hurried past, her heart hammering. He hadn't known her. The disguise had worked. She was invisible even to the man who'd destroyed her life. That night, Evelyn sat at her kitchen table with a cup of tea growing cold in her hands. She should quit. Should disappear again, start over in another city with another identity. But something stubborn had awakened inside her, something she'd thought she'd killed years ago. Why should she run? She'd done nothing wrong. She was the victim, yet she'd spent a decade in exile while Victor Kane had continued his life without consequence. Still, survival instinct won. She drafted an email to HR, claiming a family emergency that would require 2 weeks of immediate leave. Her finger hovered over the send button. A new email notification appeared. Meeting reminder, Tuesday, 9 a.m. with Dominic Pierce. Evelyn closed her eyes. One meeting. She could survive one meeting, then disappear. She deleted the draft email and went to bed, though sleep came in fragments. Tuesday morning, Evelyn arrived at Dominic's office at exactly 9 o'clock. Her hands trembled slightly as she knocked. "Come in." The office had been transformed. Where the previous CEO had maintained dark wood and hunting trophies, Dominic had installed floor-to-ceiling windows, modern furniture, and walls covered with white boards full of diagrams and notes. He sat at a standing desk, working on 2 monitors simultaneously. "Evelyn." He smiled, genuinely pleased. "Right on time. Coffee? I've got actual good stuff, not the break room disaster." "No, thank you." She clutched her folder of reports like a shield. "Have a seat." He gestured to a comfortable chair near the windows. "I've been reviewing the data systems here, and honestly, it's a mess. Redundant databases, inconsistent formatting, analysis tools from 2015. How do you people get any work done?" "We manage," she said carefully. "But you could do better with proper tools." He pulled up a screen showing her work history. "I've been reviewing personnel files. Your performance reviews are consistently average. But your actual output tells a different story." Evelyn's stomach dropped. "I don't understand. You complete twice the analysis of your peers with half the errors. Your projections over the past 10 years have been accurate within 3% margins, that's exceptional. Yet your reviews say, meets expectations." He studied her intently. You're hiding, Evelyn. The question is why? I'm not hiding. I'm just wearing clothes 2 sizes too big? Just avoiding eye contact in meetings? Just making yourself as unremarkable as possible? His voice wasn't accusatory, merely curious. I recognize the behavior because I've done it myself. She looked up sharply, meeting his eyes for the first time. After my first company failed, I spent 2 years working under a different name at a tech startup, Dominic said quietly. I wore hoodies and kept my head down. I was terrified someone would recognize me as the kid who'd lost $40 million of investor money. I made myself invisible because visibility had nearly destroyed me. What changed? The question escaped before she could stop it. I realized that hiding wasn't living. It was just slow death. He leaned back in his chair. You don't have to tell me why you're hiding. But I want you to know that whatever happened, it doesn't define your worth or your capabilities. I need good people, Evelyn. Real people, not corporate automatons. And you're one of the best analysts I've seen. Tears burned behind Evelyn's eyes. When had anyone last spoken to her like this? Like she mattered? I have a proposal, Dominic continued. Kane Ventures wants to partner with us on a major acquisition. The due diligence requires comprehensive financial analysis. I want you to lead that team. No. The word came out sharp, panicked. I can't work on that project. Why not? Please. Assign someone else. Dominic studied her for a long moment. This is about Victor Kane. Evelyn's breath caught. How could he know? I saw your reaction yesterday. You went pale when he entered the room. Dominic's voice was gentle. I make it my business to understand the people I work with. So I looked deeper into your file. Evelyn Hart. You go by your middle name. Your legal first name is Claire. Claire Evelyn Hart. The room tilted. He knew. After 10 years of hiding, of perfect invisibility, he'd seen through everything in less than 72 hours. Claire Morrison was your grandmother's maiden name, Dominic continued quietly. The name you used before. The woman engaged to Nathan Whitmore. The scandal at the Hampton estate. Stop. Evelyn stood abruptly. I quit. I'll clean out my desk. Sit down. The command was gentle but firm. I'm not finished. You can't make me. I know what Victor Kane did. Dominic's voice cut through her panic. I've spent the past 2 days investigating. The photos were fabricated, decent work for 2015 technology, but obvious forgeries under current forensic analysis. Victor Kane has a pattern. You weren't his first victim, just his most publicly destroyed one. Evelyn sank back into the chair, her legs suddenly unable to support her. There are 4 other women, Dominic said, pulling up files on his screen. All rejected his advances. All subsequently faced manufactured scandals that destroyed their careers or relationships. He's careful, strategic, and until now, completely protected by money and connections. Why are you telling me this? Her voice was barely a whisper. Because I'm going to destroy him. Dominic's eyes were hard, determined. But I need your help. The partnership he's proposing is fraudulent. I've already found evidence of financial manipulation in his previous deals. But to build an airtight case, I need someone who understands the data, who's motivated to see justice done, and who Victor Kane has already underestimated. He didn't even recognize me yesterday. Exactly. You've made yourself invisible. Now use that invisibility as a weapon. Dominic leaned forward. Help me take him down. Expose what he did to you and those other women. Get your life back, Claire. The sound of her real name, spoken with respect rather than scandal, broke something inside her. Tears spilled down her cheeks, and she didn't bother wiping them away. What if I'm not strong enough? You've survived 10 years of self-imposed exile rather than compromise your integrity. That's not weakness, Claire. That's steel. He offered her a tissue. You don't have to decide now. Think about it. But know that I see you. Not the costume you wear, but the woman you actually are. And she's formidable. Claire took the tissue, wiped her eyes, and looked at Dominic Pierce, really looked at him, for the first time. In his face, she saw not pity but understanding. Not rescue but partnership. Not a savior but an ally. I'll do it, she said, her voice gaining strength. I'll help you destroy Victor Kane. And when we're done, I want to burn every ugly sweater I own. Dominic's smile was fierce and approving. Deal. Welcome back to the world, Claire Morrison. You've been missed. For the first time in 10 years, Claire allowed herself to smile back, a real smile, the kind that used to light up rooms and turn heads. Under the ugly glasses and shapeless clothes, under the layers of protective drabness, something long dormant stirred to life. She was done hiding. It was time to fight back. And this time, she wouldn't face her demons alone.